Well, we've got the roster for the FIBA World Cup. Qualifying starts next month, like in March. So we're not that far away from actually seeing Caitlin Clark playing actual, meaningful, real basketball.
The USA basketball roster just dropped for World Cup qualifying, and both Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers made the team. Sounds great, right? Well, someone is about to find out that making the roster and actually playing are two very different things. One of them is likely getting the starting spot, while the other might want to get comfortable on that bench. This is going to be fun. Who do you think should start at point guard for Team USA? Drop your pick in the comments.
On 5 setting, the roster has been announced. It's going to be interesting to see what the starting lineups look like. I've told you guys, you got to be careful. There's all kinds of agenda when it comes down to Team USA because of some of the leadership involved, but nonetheless, we're here. Oh man, the starting lineups are going to be...
USA Basketball just announced the 12-player roster for the FIBA World Cup qualifying tournament, happening next month in San Juan, Puerto Rico, from March 11th through the 17th. That's just 1 month away. People, 1 month until we finally get to see meaningful basketball with Caitlin Clark in a true 5-on-5 setting against international competition. The roster is stacked, featuring a strong mix of veterans and newcomers. You've got 2024 gold medalists like Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, and Dearica Hamby. Aya Wilson is sitting this one out, and there's no Brianna Stewart, no Sabrina Ionescu, and no Alyssa Thomas for this qualifying round, and honestly, thank goodness. Let the young talent get some real minutes and show what they can do.
Basketball announced today the 12-player roster and coaching staff who will represent the U.S. in the 2026 FIBA World Cup qualifying tournament in San Juan, Puerto Rico, from March 11th to the 17th. 1 month away, folks. 1 month. The USA, who have already qualified for the 2026 FIBA World Cup in Berlin by winning the 2025 FIBA World Women's AmeriCup, brings a mix of veterans and newcomers to the 6-team round-robin tournament. The roster features 2024 gold medalist Kaylee Copper, Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, Dearica Hamby, and Rain Howard. They won the 3x3 bronze medal at the 2024 Paris Games.
But here's where it gets interesting. The newcomers making their senior national team competitive debuts include Paige Bueckers, Caitlin Clark, Sonia Citrin, Kiki Iriafin, and Angel Reese. Aaliyah Boston is also on the roster, along with Ryan Howard. It's basically a who's who of the next generation of women's basketball. Now, both Paige and Caitlin making the team is great news for basketball fans. Two of the biggest names from college basketball finally getting their chance to represent the country at the senior level. But let's be real about something. Only one of them is starting at point guard, and we all know who that should be.
That starts making people nervous. The USA Basketball Women's National Team Managing Director Sue Bird selected the roster and will continue to evaluate players prior to selecting a team for the 2026 Women's World Cup, which takes place September 4th.
Caitlin Clark has to be the starting point guard for this team. Come on, this shouldn't even be a discussion. She's proven herself at every level. She's healthy, she's ready to go, and she's one of the best basketball players in the world. The idea that anyone else would start over her at the point is laughable. But here's where the envy part comes in. There's been talk, whispers really, about Connecticut bias within USA Basketball. Sue Bird is the managing director who selected this roster, and she's a former UConn star. Gino Orima, the UConn coach, has also made comments suggesting that Paige Bueckers might have an inside track to the starting point guard role. You see where this is going, right? Paige went to UConn. Sue Bird went to UConn. Gino coaches at UConn. It's all very cozy and connected. Now, people are starting to wonder if that connection could influence who actually gets the starting spot.
I remember being a young kid at USA, like there was so much angst and anxiety and like nerves that come with wanting to make the team, that sometimes you get so caught up in that you forget to enjoy it and like you're living your childhood dream. So I think a mix of all of those things, of just building relationships with so many amazing women who know so much, and the coaching staff, just to be a sponge and really just enjoy it.
But let's pump the brakes on that theory. Caitlin Clark is simply better right now. She's been dominating professional basketball. She's proven she can handle the pressure, the physicality, and the non-stop attention. Paige is coming back from injury and hasn't even played a full season of professional basketball yet. The choice should be obvious. Still, you can imagine how Paige might be feeling. Her entire career, she's been told she's the next big thing, the future of women's basketball, the player who's going to take over. Then Caitlin Clark shows up and completely flips that narrative. The attention, the ratings, the endorsements, the hype, all of it shifted to Caitlin. Now they're on the same team, and Paige has to know, deep down, that she's probably not starting. That's got to sting. You make the roster, you're excited, and you think this is your moment to shine on the international stage. Then reality sets in. You're likely coming off the bench while your rival gets the starting spot. The coaching staff for this tournament is interesting, too. You've got Kara Lawson from Duke as the head coach, Natalie Nakase from the Golden State Valkyries, Nate Tibbetts from the Phoenix Mercury, and Stephanie White from the Indiana Fever. Now, on paper, Stephanie White being there should be great for Caitlin, right? That's her coach, someone who knows her game, knows how to use her, and understands what she needs to succeed. Except we all watched last season, and Stephanie White didn't exactly do Caitlin any favors. The offense wasn't built around her. Plays weren't designed for her. She spent most of the season fighting through double teams with little help. So having Stephanie White on staff might not be the advantage people think it is. In fact, it might even work against her. But that's a whole different conversation. The real story here is the dynamic between Paige and Caitlin. They've been compared to each other for years. Fans have been debating who's better since their college days. Now they're teammates, and one of them is clearly going to have a much bigger role. Paige is talented, no question. She's skilled, crafty, and can score and facilitate. But she hasn't proven herself at the professional level yet. She's still working her way back from injury. She hasn't faced the relentless defensive attention Caitlin deals with every single night. She hasn't carried a team the way Caitlin has. And that's where the envy comes in. Paige sees how Caitlin is treated, how fans react to her, how the media covers her. The WNBA reworked its entire schedule to maximize Caitlin's games on national television. Arenas sell out when she plays. Jersey sales have skyrocketed. League viewership has exploded. Paige wants that. Of course she does. What competitor wouldn't? She wants to be the face of women's basketball. She wants the attention, the accolades, and the recognition. But right now, all of that belongs to Caitlin. And this Team USA roster situation is just another reminder of that reality. Let's talk about the other players on the roster for a second. Angel Reese is there, which means we're getting another chapter of the Caitlin, Angel dynamic. They played together in the All-Star game not long ago, and it was actually pretty cool. Caitlin threw Angel an insane pass that went viral. They clearly proved they can coexist on the same team when egos are put aside. Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, and Jackie Young are all veterans who know exactly what it takes to win at the international level. They've got gold medals. They've been through the grind. Having them on the roster provides leadership and experience that the younger players desperately need. Aaliyah Boston is there, too, fresh off a dominant rookie season where she won Rookie of the Year. She has prior USA basketball experience from junior competitions, understands the system, and knows what's expected. She's also one of the best young players in the league. But let's circle back to Paige and this potential envy situation. Here's the thing, making the roster is an accomplishment. It really is. Not everyone gets invited to represent their country, and that's something Paige should absolutely be proud of. But being on the team and sitting on the bench while someone else starts and gets the bulk of the minutes is a completely different experience. That's when reality hits, that you're not the player you thought you were, or at least not yet. Gino Orima's comments about Paige having an inside track were interesting. He seemed confident she'd have a significant role, but Gino says a lot of things, and he's obviously biased toward his own players. Just because he thinks Paige should start doesn't mean the coaching staff agrees. Another fascinating subplot is how Caitlyn's Fever coach, Stephanie White, handles this situation. Does she advocate for Caitlyn? Does she push for her to have a bigger role? Or does she treat this like she did last season and just let Caitlyn figure it out on her own? Based on what we saw last year, I'm not holding my breath. Stephanie had an entire season to design an offense around her best player and chose not to. Why would things suddenly change now? But maybe, just maybe, being on a national stage with other coaches watching forces her to actually coach. Maybe the spotlight creates pressure to prove she knows how to use elite talent. Maybe this becomes her wake-up call. Or maybe not. Maybe she keeps doing what she's been doing, treating Caitlyn like just another player instead of the generational talent she is. Either way, Paige has to be watching all of this with mixed emotions. She made the team, which is huge, but she's probably not starting, which has to hurt. She's going to be compared to Caitlyn throughout this tournament, and those comparisons likely won't be favorable. She'll see firsthand what happens when Caitlyn has the ball in her hands and the freedom to do what she does best. And that might be the hardest part, not just being on the bench, but watching someone else thrive in the role you believed was meant for you. That's when envy really kicks in. That's when doubt creeps in. Paige is talented enough to have a long, successful career. She'll get her opportunities. She'll have her moments. But right now, in this moment, Caitlyn is the better player, and she deserves to start. Accepting that reality is part of growing as a competitor. The tournament itself should be a blast to watch. International basketball is different. The rules, the pace, the style, the physicality. Seeing these young stars represent the United States while competing for a World Cup spot is exciting. And finally, we get to see Caitlyn playing meaningful basketball again. After all the nonsense she dealt with last season, seeing her in a fresh environment could be refreshing. Maybe she actually gets to run an offense. Maybe she finally gets plays designed for her. Maybe she reminds everyone exactly why she's special. And if that happens, Paige will have a front row seat. That's the definition of envy-inducing. Being right there, unable to do anything about it, watching someone else live out the moment you wanted for yourself. But that's sports. Someone starts, someone sits, someone wins, someone loses. The question is how you respond. Do you let envy consume you, or do you use it as fuel to get better? Paige will get her chance. This tournament is just the beginning. There's the World Cup later this year and future Olympics down the line. Plenty of opportunities to make her mark. But for now, for this moment, Caitlyn has the upper hand and Paige has to deal with that. That's the breakdown of why Paige Bueckers might be feeling some type of way about this Team USA roster situation. If you think I'm right or completely wrong, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more basketball content. Next month is going to be wild. See you then.